to talk today about how to tune your Ozone Kite Bar. This is one of the larger bars, and I fly it with an Ozone Chrono. Now, like all kites, either you have heavy bar pressure, which that means you have light inside line pressure on your lines and they stretch less, or if you have light bar pressure, you have more pressure on your inside lines and it causes them to stretch. Now, Ozone has the best lines, I think, on the market, or one of the best. I've only stretched these lines maybe an inch, and I think this one is out of tune. I can tell when I fly my Chrono, it stalls a little more than normal. So I'm going to hook it up to a center point, and I'm going to walk all my lines out and just see if the bar is all level, and that's how you check it, see if it needs tuning. Then I'll show you how to make the adjustments to tune your bar evenly. So now I have all my pigtails tied to one center point, and now we'll walk our lines out. Okay, so now we look at our lines, and you can see the front, the middle lines are sagging. And how much? It's probably about an inch or so. That's exactly right. It's not far out of line, just a little bit. That little bit does make it fly a little differently. Now, the other thing you want to check is your center lines and make sure they have both tension evenly, which they are. And usually the Ozone Kite bars and lines, usually one does not come out of line. Usually both are, these lines are really superior lines, and they usually hold together very well. So these are fine, but one thing you got to do, you can see the slack laying in there now. Either make the outside lines longer to pick up the slack on the inside, or shorten the inside lines. Now here's our Ozone lines now. And the great thing about Ozone is we want to make our two outside lines longer. So all we have to do, and I always fly my Ozone kites, my Ozone Chronos, on the very end knot, which is up here. So you have these other two knots that actually makes this line shorter. Well, I want to make them longer, so we're going to take those two knots, one in the blue and the red, take them out, and that'll make the outside lines longer, make the bar even, and it'll be properly tuned. Here's our two knots we're going to take out right here at the bottom. Now, I've been flying these lines for almost a year, and so those knots are pretty tight. So the easiest way that I found, and I don't know if this is right or not, but this is the easiest way that I found, is get a hammer and tap on those knots. And now that usually loosens the knots up, and then I get a pair of needle nose and pull the knots apart. So there's the knots. And that's how easy they come down once you tap with a hammer. And we do the same for the other side. It's that simple. Okay, so now we hook them back up, and we'll go walk our bar back out and see if they're all level. If they are, then I think just about 1 inch is one knot. Okay, so now we have our Ozone bar, and now we'll put tension on the bar, and now everything, there's no sag, it's perfect. So now your bar is actually perfectly tuned. And that's how easy it is to tune your Ozone bar.